Gaddy along with Steve Hayward here from the Baseball Health Network. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about how do you pick a good trainer or coach. Steve and I have both been coaching and working with individuals and teams for almost 20 years each. So we want to give a little insight as to what you should look for before you pay money for a lesson or a training session. One of the dead giveaways that you're going to get a bad lesson or a session is this right here. If you see your trainer or coach on their cell phone during your session, you know you're getting bad service. One of the best compliments I ever got was in a testimonial a client gave me, and they said, what was awesome about it is that you made my sessions just as important to you as they were to me. If it's too much for me to pay attention to you and I have to go on Facebook or tweet or chat in the middle of your session, it means I'm not really invested in your progress.
From the baseball side of it, when we're looking for a coach, we want to look for someone that's got coaching experience. There's a big thought process that if the guy's got pro playing experience, that he's a good coach. And that's just not the case. There's a lot of pro guys out there, that can play baseball at a high level, but relating to kids, relating to individual personalities and different types of parents and kids, it's not easy to do that. So just because they have professional playing experience doesn't make them a good instructor. Does it give them good knowledge of the game and understanding of the skills? Absolutely. But being able to communicate that to your kid so they understand it is an entirely different story. And one of the big problems that we have in the training business is there's a lot of guys out there that are claiming to have achieved things that they haven't achieved. And it's actually kind of scary because it's really easy to track down someone's experience. And there's there are players all over, coaches all over that claim they play professional baseball. And all you have to do is go to Baseball Reference, type in their name, and if their name is not there, they never played any type of professional baseball. And again, it doesn't make him a good coach, but if a guy's not being truthful about their qualifications, that's a clear red flag to run away right away. And again, for the coaches that have played pro ball, I had a situation literally 2 days ago where one of the kids that I train in here had a changeup grip that I didn't necessarily like the grip that he threw with. But when he threw his changeup, 7 or 8 times he's been here, his changeup is probably his most consistent pitch, even more consistent than his fastball. So he went to a camp out in Florida where there was a current major leaguer, and he's a relief pitcher, and he basically told this kid, don't throw that changeup, throw this grip, try this grip. And the kid was basically forced to throw the changeup that he was showing. Now, I asked the kid, I said, well, that's great, but did you even throw your changeup? Did he even see you throw your changeup? He said, no, I didn't throw any with my grip. So it's a perfect example of a guy, a major leaguer, who I have a ton of respect for, just being able to play in the major leagues with minimal coaching experience. Changed the grip of a player without even seeing what he was capable of with the grip that he previously had. So that's one of those things where sometimes coaches try to teach kids to do things the way they did it. This is how I did it. This is how I want you to do it. When that's just not the way you teach kids. Individually, they're going to have differences and they're going to be able to do things, differently than you did them and still get the same results.
Continuing on Steve's point, one of the key factors you should look for is right up front, there should be some level of evaluation to see where your starting point is, as well as have a reference point to see how well you're progressing. Whether it's a simple radar gun speed, whether it's some video footage of how they're pitching mechanically on the baseball side or from the training side, there should be some sort of movement evaluation. There should be some baselines of body composition, of athletic ability that now I can go back and I have to prove to you that I'm actually getting results. Now, I've seen it happen, and one of the scariest things that happened was I walked into an LA Fitness and I saw this happen firsthand. I saw a trainer walk up to a kid, hand him dumbbells, do this. The kid mirrored him and did that, and he said, oh, you play football? Okay. What's your name? That was his evaluation process. That's pretty scary.
And again, like Eric said, that's what we do here. We always videotape kids, whether it's with our, not supposed to use our phone for texting and phone calls, but we do use it for video. We use tablets. We have other camera devices that we use here, and it's instant feedback. So, videotaping a kid and saying, okay, here are his issues. and this is where he's at now. And then every time they come, we try to videotape at least a couple of minutes of their session so we can see the progression. I don't care how good of a coach you are. There is no coach that can see everything he needs to see with his eyes. Can't happen. Being able to slow it down, back it up, freeze frame it, that's how we can really break a kid down mechanically and get them to really visually see what they're doing wrong. Because it's one thing, I remember when I was in college, my coaches would tell me you were doing this, this, and this wrong, and I understood what they were saying. But when I actually saw it on video, it was so much easier for me to put that mental picture in my head so I could actually fix the problem faster.
Now, something that's simple and seems obvious, but I can't overstate enough because it's very underdone, is that you have to make sure that who's ever coaching or instructing your athlete is that they have their goal in mind and that I don't impose my goal onto you. And that happens a lot of times in the training world where if you go to a guru powerlifter and they try to make everybody into powerlifters, and that may not be the end goal. The end goal you came in for is to become a better baseball player. And you need to make sure that everything they're doing is to get you one step closer to that goal. And so one of the first things I would always do when I was training clients was to sit down with them and say, how do you know if you got better? How do you know if I did my job? And unfortunately, the answer would always be, I sweat a lot and it was really hard and I was sore afterwards. And I would turn to them and say, look, if that's all you're looking for, great, come to my house this weekend. You can clean out my garage and you can rake leaves and you can do all this stuff and you'll sweat a lot and be sore. It doesn't mean you're going to be a better baseball player. I need to prove to you that this is creating tangible results and that you're going to walk out of here being able to do something that you couldn't do when you walked in, or you at least know something about yourself that you'll be able to change to make you a better player tomorrow.
And there are coaches out there that can actually have a positive impact on your kid. That doesn't mean that they can help them with their skills. That doesn't mean that they can clean up the deficiencies that they have throughout their body. Your kid goes into a place, they love the coach, they have a good time there, they're smiling, they're having fun, and it's a good experience. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, like Eric said, what is your goal? Is your goal for a guy to babysit your kid for half an hour and have fun? Or is your goal to make your kid a better player? And there are players that are looking for both of those. And if your son's not looking to, play at the travel level, maybe make his varsity level high school team and play in college and play beyond that, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's when it's okay, I guess, if you have a coach that's not really into the whole skills and super, working on improving your kid's skills. It's just he's there for more of the relationship, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're looking to be a little bit more serious and take your game to a different level than that, then you really need to do your homework and you really need to check the experience and the qualifications of your coaches.
Last but not least, realize that unless you're paying your coach or trainer to come and live in your home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that there's going to be homework, that there's going to be things that you're going to need to do outside of that hour, even if you're seeing them 2 to 3 days a week, that need to get done to make your athlete complete. So understand that. There's no magic wand that Steve or I or any instructor or coach has that can just make you into a much better player in just simply an hour or 2 or 3 hours a week. There's going to need to be things to back up what we do, whether it's drills, whether it's exercises, whether it's lifestyle nutrition things that we need to have you do that's going to back up and continue the process that we just started during our lesson or session.
And lastly for me, if you do have a coach that's a qualified coach, like he just said, if you're not doing the things that the coach is requiring you to do on your own, and you're not seeing the results that you expect to get, don't put that on the coach. And that seems to be something that's happening more and more over the last few years. It's never our kid's fault why he's not succeeding. There's got to be another reason why, or someone else we can blame for his lack of success. If you're getting the good information and you're not following through on your end of the bargain, then you need to take responsibility as a parent, you need to take responsibility as a player, but don't expect to get good results giving half the effort. Hopefully this information helped you out to be able to make better choices for your child. I'm Steve Hayward, along with Eric DeGatti from the Baseball Health Network. Check us out at baseballhealthnetwork.com.